Today I fucked up by introducing my World War II veteran grandfather to HBO's Band of Brothers series. This actually happened almost 20 years ago, but still bothers me to this day. My grandfather, God rest his soul, fought in the European theatre during World War II with the 9th Infantry Division. He was promoted to Staff Sergeant after most of his unit were killed during a fierce battle in the French hedgerows. During the war, he survived a stab wound, a bullet wound, and during the Battle of the Bulge lost an arm from a mortar attack. He eventually made it home, overcame an alcohol problem, got married, started a business and went on to live a normal life. I was always intrigued by the war stories when I was a kid. Sitting by the fireplace as he talked about sleeping in a cold ditch, the rumbling sound of an approaching Panzer tank, and the feeling of German soldiers passing within feet of him as he hid in the bushes. He gave me some of his medals, old photos, and books about the 68th Field Artillery Battalion. It was our thing. So naturally, when HBO's Band of Brothers miniseries came out retracing the places he had been and battles he had fought in, I was excited to share it with him. I recorded on VHS cassette every episode and dropped it off to him at the retirement home. He watched them all, and commented on how realistic it was. Then the nightmares started happening, and it got to the point he was seeing enemy soldiers in the tree line outside the home during the day. While my intentions were good, I realized that I messed up bad. He ended up getting counseling and then passed away a year later after my grandmother died. I still harbor guilt over this. Too Long Didn't Read showed my World War II veteran grandfather a TV war series, and he started seeing imaginary Nazi soldiers attacking his old age home. There was probably some other stuff happening in his aging brain during that period. The good you did by showing interest in his stories and validating the importance of his role surely much outweighs the wrong you did showing him these tapes. And probably he revisited the times when he was a young man, with the satisfaction of knowing his descendants valued his contribution years down the line. And 20 years later you are still talking about him. I can only imagine how happy he would be to know you are still concerned about him. Too Long Didn't Read, don't beat yourself up. You loved your granddad and he knew it. He had to be on his way. This is life. You did more good than harm. Edit, thanks for the awards. As a veteran of a much milder conflict, I can tell you that those things never really leave. You learn to live with them, bury them in the back of your mind, and sometimes seeing something or hearing something can bring it up. Over the years the walls tend to get a little brittle, but it isn't your fault. Edit, corrected a typo. My Phil, as he was aging, started having those nightmares. He had to go to therapy too. I heard it was because when they came back from war they were told not to talk about it and that time would erase those terrible memories. Guess what? It doesn't. I don't think the series had anything to do with his hallucinations. It's just the trauma that came back naturally. You didn't do anything wrong. This is so common among elderly veterans that it's practically unavoidable. War leaves one hell of an impression. As all the boring and routine stuff fades from memory, it becomes more and more prominent. If he didn't want to discuss it, he wouldn't. If he didn't want to watch, he wouldn't. Rest assured that he wanted to share that part of his life with you, and appreciated your interest. He wouldn't want you worrying about something you can't change from 20 years ago. Let it go, live your best life. You know that's what he would have wanted to see. Today I fucked up by feeding my baby naked. Today I fucked up by feeding my baby naked. I had just come in from working in the yard, and my wife told me she had to go to the store to pick up something for dinner. I asked if she could wait till after I took a shower, as I was pretty dirty. She said it would be fine as our 9-month-old was in her crib taking a nap, and the 4-year-old would watch TV while I was in the shower. Cool. Sounds good. I took my phone to the shower so I could watch the baby monitor. As I was finishing up my shower, baby woke up crying. I get out, dry off real quick, and go get the baby. On the way to her room, I tossed my towel into the laundry room. Baby didn't stop crying when I picked her up or after I changed her diaper, so that must mean she's hungry. So, I put her in her high chair and started to feed her. We have a pretty small house. The front door opens directly into the kitchen and living area. I had the baby's high chair in between the kitchen and living room faced towards the TV so she could watch while she was eating. I, a full-grown man, was sitting on a little Mickey Mouse chair, still naked, facing the high chair and the front door as I fed my kid. Now, this chair sits maybe a foot off the ground, so my knees are up around chest height, feet and knees positioned out to the sides. I'm as exposed as one can be. Everything is going well up to this point. Then my wife gets home from the store. I heard the car pull into the driveway. I heard her walk up the steps to the front door. I heard the screen door open. No worries. It's just my wife. She's seen it all before. But when the door opens, she's on her phone with her mom. Not just on the phone, but a FaceTime call. And she had the camera facing forward, into the house, directly at me in all my glory, naked on a miniature chair holding a jar of baby food. Wife, OMG. Why are you naked? I'm so sorry mom. Mill, laughing hysterically me, frozen, nowhere to go, no way to cover up or rewind time, embarrassed beyond belief. You see, our 4-year-old has gotten to where he stops whatever he's doing to welcome either of us home as soon as we walk in the door. It's ridiculously cute. You've seen the videos of military parents coming home unexpectedly and surprising their kids, right? Well, that's the reaction we get every time we get home. It's a lot of fun for him and us, and we enjoy it as much as we can because we know he'll grow out of it eventually. My wife had FaceTimed her mom so she could see the show the 4-yo puts on when we get home, but instead she got a totally different kind of show. I'm already thinking of excuses to bail out on family gatherings for the next 20 years or so. Suggestions welcome. Too long didn't read, didn't get dressed between getting out of the shower and feeding my kid. Mother-in-law saw everything on a FaceTime call with wife. May. You were parenting your son, having dropped what you were doing to help him. I'm sure your wife and mother-in-law have had to do something similar in the past. I'd say it's something to be proud of if you put your child's welfare ahead of any personal embarrassment. Angelic face. It's only a penis at the end of the day. Embarrassed smiley face, and a butthole. Your Mill seems nice, toe. Mill seems to have taken it in stride, and has a good sense of humor it seems, smiley face. Yep, she's a 20+ year ER nurse, so seeing a naked guy isn't a big deal, but still super awkward for me. Well, your wife sure showed her mom how the little man greets her when she gets home. I say you pose like the famous Burt Reynolds poster with a sign that reads, "Hi Mill," covering the main bits, and have her do it again. Hi, I couldn't make it to insert gathering, I couldn't find any clothes to wear. Today I fucked up by accidentally trying to come onto my aunt. This is my first time posting here, so sorry if I fuck up the formatting too. I don't remember the exact date, but it was either the summer of 2016 or 2017. I was around 14 to 15 at the time. Anyways, it was summertime. My parents were organizing a trip to the west side of the country. I live in Turkey, and this trip included staying with my cousins for 2 to 3 days. I was really disinterested in the original destination of the trip, so I asked my parents if I could stay at my cousins'. The cousins were from my mother's side. They were staying at a military housing. I couldn't find the exact English definition of this, but basically my mother's brother-in-law used to be a flight conductor in the army, so their whole family was staying at a huge complex provided by the army. In Turkish we call it lojman. Anyways, we get to my cousin's city and they accepted my proposal, so I got to stay with my cousins for 2 weeks. So in the meantime, I hang out with my brother and he introduces me to his friends in the complex, whom amongst were some girls. I was really easygoing at the time and hit off well with his friends and the girls in the group. After a day or two we began to hang out collectively and started playing games like Truth or Dare, which we used to flirt with each other in a very dorky way. I had a little crush towards one of the girls, let's call her Da, in the group, and one night, it was really late and we were playing Truth or Dare. We were using a bottle to play and finally, I got matched up with her. She said Dare. I thought for a while and then asked for her number. She gave it to me and told me to ring it so that she could have my number as well. I didn't figure that I would register her name to the phone later when I get back to my cousin's home. So we continued playing, and 10 to 15 minutes later a number that I didn't know called me. As soon as I answered it, the person who was calling me started going ballistic saying, "Where are you? It's really late. I'm not your mom. Get back home now." It was my aunt, and because we weren't really close I never bothered to register her on my phone. And even after the call I really didn't give a shit to register her. So I get back to my cousin's home. My aunt starts going apeshit telling me they have waited for us so they could sleep and all that fuss. I crawl up in my bed and decide to text the girl. I open up my calls and register the last unknown number as her. I message her on WhatsApp. We talk a little but she acts weird. Even when I call her she just sends me laughing emojis. We talked a bit, mostly me trying to come onto her and her being a sarcastic jerk. After a while she told me she is coming to my room, which I responded by "You what?" My aunt came to the room, opened the lights and burst out such a laugh that everybody woke up. I had accidentally registered my aunt as 2 instead of the real Do, and my aunt prob understood it because she went along with it the whole fucking time. The cheesy pickup shit that I wrote to her still cringes me out from time to time. The next day the whole family knew and it was really weird. Too long didn't read. A girl gave me her number, but instead of registering her number as her, I registered my aunt's number as her. Edit grandma. Meanwhile in Alabama. Accidentally, sure buddy. What are you doing, step-nephew? Well, that's not as bad as I thought. I thought this was gonna be about you hitting on a girl that turned out to be your aunt. I read the title of this story and thought, this should be interesting. How can you almost ejaculate on your aunt? I think I need to tone down my dirty mind. That must have been really awkward. So you texted the girl afterwards, right? No, but the next day I went out and had a chance to talk with her, explained the situation to her. I don't think she really comprehended the situation and thought it was weird because she gave me a strange look, and also we didn't talk much after this incident and eventually lost touch. Still have her number though. D.